And welcome to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show
on the
SBT Magazine Radio
Network.
And we're back in the saddle, Barbara, right here.
Yeah.
Doing our show. And been a couple weeks. We had a lot going on. If you're not familiar with Small Business Today Magazine, we're a publication dedicated to aspiring entrepreneurs and small business owners. I have over 65,000 online readers, thanks to our digital magazine. But we also put out a real high quality magazine as a sample and for hard copy subscribers. Its mission is to educate, motivate, inspire, and empower a small business owner to achieve their dreams of big business success. That's right. And if you want more information, you can go to sbtmagazine.net
or smallbusinesstodaymagazine.com.
That's right. And I didn't introduce my lovely wife. By the way, I'm Steve Levine, Executive Publisher.
I'm Barbara Davis, Associate Publisher, Creative Director, Editor, and a lot of other things we don't need to go into.
All those things.
All those in a box of crackers.
That's right, a bag of chips.
Okay.
And by the way, if you're listening to this now on December 11th, we have a lunch and learn tomorrow at the Wyndham Energy Corridor on Highway 6, just north of I-10. And Tracy L. James is the speaker. That's 11 a.m., $16 for lunch and a speaker.
And then the next month after that, that's going to be January.
What's that?
In January, we're having
Kevin Saunders, and he's a multi-gold medal Paralympian. And he's got a great story.
So if you're interested, make sure you go like us on Facebook at Small Business Today Magazine, and you'll see all of our events that are posted, including our Meet and Mingles.
Meet and Mingle Mondays at Phil and Derek's.
At Phil and Derek's. It's the first Monday of every month.
And the next one is December the 7th, I believe.
Is it 7th or 5th? I don't remember.
I think it's the 7th. No, it's January. January 7th.
Oh, January. We're past December.
That's right. We're past December.
Hello.
Anyway, but we at Small Business Today Magazine, we are dedicated to small business owners, and we like featuring small business owners who are doing something special, especially despite the odds.
Well, that's it. Every cover honoree is someone that started with nothing and built something big, and they also, to be considered to be a cover honoree, have to give back to their community. And so we like to always spotlight and have features of people that are like-minded like that, and even the ones that are just getting their foot in the door and starting out.
That's right. And today we have somebody, multiple winner of business plan competitions, including Liftoff Houston, which we met him, I think, over a year ago.
When we were judging.
And we were judging. And you're always judging me, Barry.
You're
very judgmental.
I'm very judgmental.
Just saying,
right,
but
right.
Has nothing to do with Henry here. But anyway.
No. Well, let me talk about
Go
him.
ahead.
Henry's right here. Henry Kechula, Jr. And he's an American citizen of Liberian descent who came from humble beginnings. Henry's graduated from the University of Texas at Austin. Hook 'em horns. Wait, there it is. Hook 'em horns. There, I got it. Got my hook 'em. Upon graduating college, Henry started a 4.0 GPA Growth, Productivity, and Accountability LLC, which serves as an education consulting firm and resource for schools and private organizations. In addition, the company aims to help disadvantaged students get into college. The curriculum could be offered to individual students, school districts, colleges, and nonprofit organizations. Students who collaborate with 4.0 GPA, I love that, that's a great name, have great success once admitted into college. Students maintain an average grade point average of a 3.2 and higher once enrolled, which is again a wonderful goal. The rapid success and nationwide expansion of 4.0 GPA has not gone unnoticed. Henry has received countless honors, just like Steve said, and recognition, including being named one of the top 16 social entrepreneurs in the United States for 2018. In addition, 4.0 GPA is featured on www.nba.com. So that is awesome. Welcome to the show, Henry.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
How did you get involved in, or coming up with a name? Did you make 4.0 when you were in high school and college?
When I was in high school, I graduated with a 2.5, but in my first year of college, I made a 4.0. First time ever in my life, making honor roll. And it dawned upon me that a lot of students did not know what their GPA was, so I decided to name the company 4.0 GPA so everyone will understand the whole importance of GPAs.
What What changed that motivated you to go from the 2.5 to the 4.0? What was there some kind of something that spurred it, a catalyst, or?
It's different when you are in a different environment and you just have a dorm, just focusing on having goals. And then I started to set goals for myself. So I walked into my first semester saying that, hey, I wanted to make a 4.0 GPA. Secondly, something else that helped me out was study habits. I also had the option of having resources, writing center, math center. So I was able to utilize my resources and take advantage of the 168 hours I had in a week. So planning was key, and goal setting was key too.
Well, again, the transition from high school to college, did you have a mentor? How did that come? Because you can't just automatically learn goal setting. It doesn't just come out. You had to have something that caused that. So how did you know?
What happened, I think what led to the shift exactly when I was in high school, the most important thing was realizing that when I graduated, on the day I graduated from high school, I was very disappointed because I did not have any cords on my neck. And I noticed I felt like a failure because I saw that people had cords, they had honors. And I said to myself that my family came out to watch me graduate. I think I let everyone down.
I know that feeling because I graduated and I didn't even get a $20 scholarship from the Civil Air Patrol, which my father was part of, and I was the only one in the class that had any relationship with that. Because I graduated and that 10% of the class that made up for 90% possible. You see, so.
And then in my senior year, I had the chance of sitting at the same table as a valedictorian, and so I was able to pick up on some of the things that he was doing. He told me that he was going home and studying and going over that. So when I went to college, I said, well, I don't have any distractions. When I was in high school, I worked 3 jobs. So now I'm in college, I only have 1 job, finish line. Now I can just focus on creating my schedule, meeting with professors, and going to the library. And that's all I had to do. And if I was able to do that, I was able to get scholarships and pay for college and graduate. And my goal was to be able to graduate with honors and have cords. So that was something that motivated me.
That was your mission. That was your why you worked so hard. Is your why? I want to graduate with honors. No more. There's no cord stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I got you.
And along with that, I think that inspired me. But just seeing my goals in front of me, saying that this time around when I have graduation, and I have family come around from all over, I'm not going to disappoint them. They're going to look in the program and see my name with a little star on there that, hey, he actually did something. So those are also the motivating factors behind me making that shift.
That's awesome, Steve. You want to ask Henry a question?
Yeah, but in here. So, yeah. So what? I mean, just to walk out of college with a cord and honors, and the number 4.0, nobody knows about that.
Yes, sir.
I mean, once you're on the street, you had to have a bigger goal or a bigger dream than just that 4.0 tattoo.
Yes.
So tell me what that was.
And looking at the biggest goal for me, I had the opportunity of serving when I was in college. I served as a volunteer with a program called Texas Blazers, and we had to go in the lowest performing school in Austin. I think it was Eastside Middle School, high school. And at that time, I saw that a lot of students did not have teachers that they could relate to, and I looked upon it like, wow, this is different. And I never really had a male teacher growing up that I could really build a relationship with. So after that, I had an organization called Teach for America. It's a teaching group. They reached out to me and they said, hey, all we need you to do is teach for 2 years and we help you cover some of your loans and expenses.
Wow.
And I said, wow. And this was like a very hard program to get into. I think you have a better chance of getting into Harvard than getting into Teach for America. It's very prestigious. And after that, I had the opportunity of becoming a part of that program. Now, becoming a part of that program allowed me to see how all the challenges that students in the inner city faced. Like some of those problems were like, growing up, I grew up in A-Leaf, and sometimes, I grew up in an environment where lights were cut off, and you would see like people get incarcerated. is seeing that a lot of students in this high school I was teaching did not apply to college. That allowed me to see that we needed to start a program, and the 4.0 GPA became that program.
Nice. And so your dream
Yes.
was to show others how to do what you learned, right?
Yes, sir. It's like showing people like a recipe. Like, for example, we probably go to Phil and Derek's, and they have a recipe of something that tastes delicious.
Mississippi chocolate, right?
Yes. And you taste it, and you say, hey, if you are the cook and chef of that dish, you know how to make it. But what if you can teach other people how to make that dish? And that's how I felt. I was the kid that I did not deem myself as the kid that was smart or brilliant. I just followed the system, and I understood and I got it. So I was able to follow the system and understanding how to pick the right classes and understand how to go through my schedule. I could show it to other students just like me who are regular people, not brilliant, and they could have phenomenal skill, phenomenal will, and be successful.
I call that adult follow the leader.
Yeah.
And so because you need to go and align yourself with leaders that are successful people. And if you copy and follow in their footsteps, you know, they're leaving a path of success.
Yes.
So whom did you have as a leader?
I will look at, I have to say it was my professors. Professor Muirhead was somebody I looked out to. Also, Sean Theriault was one of the people that inspired me. And then I started to learn tips like from my brother. He was always, anytime he was in the car, he had audio tapes and he was going over his notes.
It's the college on wheels,
yeah,
right? University on wheels.
Yes. And so what I did, I had a binder. Every time I got on the bus, I reviewed my notes. Every time I was walking or waiting, free time, I reviewed my notes. And I did this perennially, so the material started to become a part of me. And it became easy for me to comprehend when it became time to prepare for the test. And that's what I started to show students. Students like using their phones. Students spend over 60 hours a week on their cell phone. So if you show a student how to review their PowerPoints on their phone before going onto social media, they start to remember more, and it becomes easier for them to become successful and get a higher grade average.
There you go. Well, yeah, and you're working with students right now. What age groups are they?
We work with students from 6th grade all the way throughout college. And the great thing about it is we also have after school programs. So we have a staff, a team. They provide these services to HISD. And how does it work? After school, students are able to learn about college career readiness as early as 1st, 2nd grade, ACT test prep, different careers, how much you make. And so those are the different avenues we have. And then we also provide workshops. Workshops help students learn about different programs and shows them how to prepare for the process.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned something about you couldn't find a teacher, high school, you can relate to or have find a bond with, but college you did. Do you find now there's even more of a disconnect between teachers and students? Do you think that's true?
Yes, it's true. And I have done a lot of research. Students are more likely, for example, African American students, males, are more likely to go to college when they have had an African American teacher that is male. So it just shows that if you're able to have a teacher that looks like you or maybe relate to you in some type of way, you are influenced to follow into that footstep.
You know, we're on the board of YES, which is Youth Entrepreneur Society, and work with a lot of youth entrepreneurs. And what we're finding is young entrepreneurs is that they don't feel a connection between the information that they're getting and what they hope to do, if they have any idea, later in life. Why do I really need this? What do I really need this for? What do I need that for? They're just not vested in that information. And they're also seeing that corporate America is not going to be their mainstay, as I was told. I was told get a good education and a good school and get a good job and a good company. They'll take care of you. You know yourself. You want security, start your own company. So we work with young people and youth to see if they have a dream for a business, a product or service. But it's finding them are invested, and they don't think the teachers care. The teachers don't think the students care. You find that to be true?
That's very accurate.
Because I got something right about it.
Because I used to be a teacher, and one of the things that dawned upon me was eating inside of the lunchroom and hearing negative comments about other students, and hearing teachers say that, hey, this student does not have any future. I really can't wait for them to get out of here.
Oh, that's terrible.
And those were the same students that came to my class all the time when they got kicked out. So it comes to that relationship. It's like any job. You have to have that passion. And when you look at education, education is also a field as a substitute for students, for teachers for college students that graduate that need something to do as a filler. So it's like, okay, let me get this $52,000 job, be here for 2 or 3 years, and find out exactly what I want to do. And they come out and they're not that passionate about it. Because if you're passionate about it, you should be there early on time, build relationships with students where you know their parents, know exactly where they live, what they like to do for fun. And once you have that connection, it shows in test data. And you have a lot of charter schools. I'm on the board of a charter school. Charter schools perform at a higher level when they have that relationship, because they incorporate that. That's part of it.
When did you create the 4.0 GPA? How old were you, and were you still in college when you were doing it?
I created 4.0 GPA during, I would say, 3 years after I came out of college. And I was probably, it was in 2016, around November. And I was working a corporate America job. And I decided, I came across this magazine called 5 a.m. Wake Up. So I decided to create a business plan, create a structure, and just reach out and shoot my shot. Because I never had any experience with creating businesses before. And then being part of the Liftoff program also helped me as well. And that showed me the ingredients. But creating a business can be something at the beginning where people start to doubt you and say, hey, this is not going to work, or it doesn't make sense. And that was something that I always wonder. I said, well, people always doubt you, but they never created a business before.
Thank you. It's exactly, it's sad. There are people that are the closest to you. They have a level of mediocrity, and they expect everybody to hold the same low standards that they have. And anything different or contrary, they don't understand. They don't know how to dream, and so therefore they steal other people's dreams. It's sad.
Yes, and I look a lot at business stories like Airbnb. I look at Dropbox. People thought those ideas were ludicrous. Like, hey, someone pitching Airbnb to a investor. Oh, you have an idea of someone sleeping on a couch? Like, that doesn't make sense. It's like, it's not secure. It's not going to work. And now you look today, that company is very successful. IPO was shooting out the roof. But you have to look at it from that concept.
Except I'm boycotting them right now.
Okay.
They decided to boycott part of Israel.
Oh, wow.
When they cut back against certain areas of Israel, they won't book. So I'm looking at alternate competition for Airbnb. So they're Airbnb.
And we might just start one. Who knows?
That's right.
Yeah, a lot of times, entrepreneurs or future entrepreneurs are met with the negativity. That won't work. You have no business doing that. We were just talking about friends of ours, Corey and Millie Counterdiner, with newhomeprogram.com, came up with this idea of let's help first-time home buyers who have no money and bad credit. That's everybody, every other real estate agent stays away from, no, come back when you got money or good credit. So they said, no, we're going to start a business, and we're just going to deal with that. And well, I won't give his name, because he's a good friend, was the chairman of the Houston Association of Realtors, and said, you're an idiot. You have no business, you're never going to be successful. And now they're like nationwide. So it all starts with an idea that some people may not understand, but if you refuse to give up on it, and you know it has potential, and are willing to overcome the negative comments and the objections, and you see it as successful, you're on your way. But everything starts with a bad idea.
How did you motivate yourself to get over those negative objections?
I look at life, I guess people always told me when I went to it was like almost like a magnet high school, and people told me like, hey, you know, you and I get accepted into that school. So I proved them wrong, and then people told me, my counselor told me, hey, you don't have a good chance of getting into UT Austin. So I got into UT Austin.
Yay.
And then it was just like the next motivator that I can make this successful, because most of the things I put my heart to, when I worked at Finish Line, I was one of the top salesperson. When I worked at Bank of America, I did well. And understanding that I understand the concept of selling, but I understand most importantly how to build relationships with people. And if you understand, you master relationship building in a business field, you will be successful because people connect with you, you sell them a product, and then boom, it works. So I said to myself, I was able to build relationships with my students and provide them with the blueprint. Now I can do this process, and I should be successful. And the great thing about it was I only started with $500. So it wasn't like I was going to a loan officer or going to a VC and having them write me a check for $2 million, and then I'm taking someone else's money. It was like my hard-earned money, so I had to make sure it was going to work.
You literally started with a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And how did you manage to do that? I mean, how did you turn that $500 into what you have today?
I looked at it like a football team. One of the people I reached out to when I first started my company was Robert Kraft, because I admire him. He's the owner of the Patriots, and I wrote a letter to him, and he wrote me back and sent me an autographed portrait. But the thing was understanding that on a football team we have 53 players, and 53 players on a roster, they're assigned to do different things, from the kicker to the quarterback to the punter. So I said to myself, I can make a list of people that I need that I'm not good in. Like, for example, website. So I have a website, found that person, wrote it down, family member. Writing, editing, graphic designer, started making a list of everything I need, math, science, put it together, and I said that's the ingredients of having a team. Because in the business, it's very key for us to have a team. It's pivotal, because you cannot do everything by yourself. And then Mark Cuban said, do not hire someone to do your PR. So I went to Barnes & Nobles, I purchased a book on how to do PR, I wrote PR, press release, shot it out to Channel 2, they responded back like, hey, we want to interview you. And that was just the whole dynamics of starting small and growing big. And then it came to procurement. I had never wrote a procurement before. I reached out to people. They were like, hey, it's going to cost like $4,000 or $3,000 to write it. So I went to Barnes & Nobles, bought a book for like $39.99, I think, Proposals for Dummies. And I wrote a proposal, wrote a procurement to HISD. It was approved. So that started to show me right then and there that it was the concept of putting together a team and utilizing resources that are cost effective. Like the Houston Library had a lot of resources.
Oh yeah, wonderful resource.
Exactly. And then I'm very big on Twitter, so Twitter I keep my notifications on. So now I'm receiving emails and Twitter notifications about liftoff, pitch competition. And I started to use that to my advantage. Speaking was something I enjoy doing, so I had the opportunity of doing a pitch competition, putting together a business plan, and that's how I was able to excel, was by utilizing resources.
Excellent. And including your own, that you were able to use your own mind, which obviously doesn't sound like you were challenged very much in high school and early years, and once you were on your own, you realized you had those resources all within you.
Yes.
I want to ask you this question. When Mark Cuban said, don't hire somebody to do your PR. There's a lot of PR agencies out there, a lot of companies do online and offline, and media selection, and they specialize in that. Now, why do you think he told you, and I assume that'd be advice you'd pass on to another startup entrepreneur, small business owner, why do you think he told you don't have somebody else do your PR?
When you look at price quotes I started to receive were in the range of some people $4,000 a month, $2,000 a month, and so when you start to look at the different ratios of when you start to look at the ratio of pricing and that budget, it adds up. Is it worth spending $4,000 a month for someone to send out an email to like 5,000 people and having probably one respond when you can do it yourself and have the accountability? So that was just something that was major for me. And I think he was looking at the mindset of you can put together a letter and email it yourself.
Right.
I
Well,
agree with that. Okay.
Let me do,
Okay.
my thought process is, you do your own PR, because no one will ever be as invested in your dream as you are. So if you're gonna make it happen, because it's your dream and your passion and your belief and your energy and your resources, that's the one thing you don't wanna pass on to somebody else to do on your behalf.
Because they're gonna recognize the sincerity and what you have, in it. I had a successful travel agency. I went in business when our industry, the whole city of Houston's economy was so bad that you couldn't sell a house at foreclosure. This was in the 80s, so everybody was going out of business. That was not a great time to open up a travel agency. I started in a shoestring budget, but by the end of my first year, it was $1 million agency just with one airline alone. So that was Continental Airlines at the time. But the point was, I did the same like you. I would call news people and say, if you need somebody or authority on travel, well, here I am. So I made myself the expert of travel, even though I just got in. And I'd have people say, oh, I thought you were in business for 20 years. I go, well, thank you. And if it was a contest, I would find some way to give some way to be part of the contest. Everybody and their brother would want me to donate a trip, and the travel agents don't just materialize those, and the airlines don't just give it to the travel agents. But I would barter with other companies and trade out and get those things and get my name in the news, and that was so important. But I did all that PR myself, so I appreciate that point. And it was the connection. They always knew, well, we can call Barbara, or we can call her midnight. She's going to answer the phone.
And that reminds me of Barbara Cochran. She utilized the same strategies when she started off her business, and was reaching out with saying, hey, this is a celebrity realtor, and people started to write more about her, and then she had celebrities reach out to her to buy homes, and she took off from there.
Yeah, that's it. My company, actually, I specialize in travel for entertainers and athletes, and one referred to another and another. So I did almost all the Houston Oilers and almost all the Houston Rockets travel, and I had one of my outside sales ladies, her late husband was a pitcher for originally the Colt 45, so she had the connections with the Astros. So yeah, we had it all covered. And
nothing beats a testimonial, early on testimonial, because potentially you're paying yourself to talk highly of your company. But when somebody else does that, unpaid, that's key.
They're not vested in it, is the
right.
audience.
So tell me about one of your first testimonials.
My first testimonial would have to be, I'll say Isaiah. And Isaiah won over 8 scholarships. And the great thing about it was that all his scholarships were documented in the media. And that was something that helped out a lot, because it allowed parents to see that this is real. He was published in the news, he was published on Channel 2, he was on Channel 26. So that was like a real story for people to see.
Well, not all students are created alike,
yes.
As their environments and their family situations, and just whether they have short attention spans like I did or not. I told you I could read a whole chapter of a book and not tell you a word it said. Not one word where I come back, I don't know. So, but that's just, but how do you find success with every different type of student there is? It can't be just cookie cutter. You do this, you do this, you do that, you do that, and you'll have 4.0, because we're not all built the same.
Yes. And the finding success, and the great thing about our program, we work a lot with students that have low GPAs and some that have high GPAs. So we go from students maybe wanting to apply to a certification school to maybe Harvard University. But finding out like the system that works, we try to provide students with a test to assess them, to see what type of student they are. And then we assess them by looking at their transcripts and trying to evaluate them almost to get a good feel on how they perform and what type of areas are strong, their strengths and weaknesses.
How do they find you?
That's a great question. I'm
I was
not.
gonna ask that, but she.
I'm not that big on marketing because I believe that I want my product to speak for itself. And the reason why I say that, when you look at certain stores like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, you do not see like commercials everywhere. But people normally find me 3 different ways. It's referrals. They either come across, we do ads sometimes on RCS Sports or Jim Hicks. So we have ads there. And then third, they find us by seeing our banners at sporting events. So those are like the different ways that people find out about what we do.
What's your website?
Our website, it is 40gpa.com, and very simple, 40gpa.com, and that's the easiest way to find us. And we probably do ads probably like quarterly, and that's normally the norm. But I want the product to speak for itself, that I know that is good, and a lot of our customers come from referrals. But going into year 3, my plan for year 3 is to scale. So now I understand that year 2 we were able to prove validation, it worked. Now I can scale by putting more dollars into marketing. And Mattress Mac, I know his first year when I met him, he said that he put all his dollars into marketing. So now year 3 I can do exactly that.
Do you have any celebrities that help you and with scholarships or with any of the youth, or do you just help them get scholarships through traditional sources?
I help them get scholarships through traditional sources, but for athletes, we normally do professional athletes. We do workshops with them, like over the summer. So we have done workshops with NFL players, NBA players, and some of them have used our services as well, and that has been very helpful.
Well, if you need extra, I know the NBA and NFL, I still have connections of the retired ones or coaches. If you ever
One
need
of our ambassador connectors at our Meet and Mingle Mondays is Maurice Evans, who's former LA Laker. I think he played for Chicago as well, Atlanta, Washington Wizards, and he's got a terrific business model with the ELOS 365, which is every level success 365. Should meet him. He knows a lot about. He used to be vice president of the NBA Players Association.
And Chris Dishman,
He's a big buddy of ours.
yeah, great person. Houston, we've got Curtis Duncan is one of the few players that always was level-headed. When I first met him, he was a rookie, wide receiver for the Oilers, and he was engaged and eventually married Meredith. Can't think of Meredith's maiden name, but she was going to law school. He was getting his degree as a CPA, but he was an NFL player, playing. But he kept his college education going on, and even with their honeymoon, they didn't get silly or frivolous. He was very frugal the whole time as a player, and so that's to me, a wonderful role model. Somebody like him would be a great person to work with those that are athletes. Keep their head focused, because they get bombarded with groupies. They get bombarded with everything, drugs, once they hit the
They have all this
professional.
money and celebrity status all at once.
And they're not taught how to deal with the sudden.
And they're young. Most of them are very young when they are awarded these multi-million-dollar contracts, and even just any contract with an NBA team or NFL team. It's very difficult for them. They're soon their credit is gone, their money is gone, and people take advantage of it.
And they're injured and they can't play again, and they're that's the career is limited with the professional athletes.
So what education do you put? They're going for a 4.0. These athletes. How do you help them?
The athletes, how we help them, normally we help them, the student athletes we work with, we help them in the recruiting process. So they're applying to colleges, they have to go through clearinghouse, they have to either decide if they want to go D1, D2, D3. So we just help them with managing their time, helping them, showing them how to prepare for the SAT, ACT exam, and then helping them pick the right school that's the best fit for them as well.
Got it. Kevin Hart, I understand, had some involvement with your providing a scholarship for a student, am I correct?
Yes, he selected 18 students.
And Kevin Hart is
A comedian.
okay.
And he only selected 18 students out of the United States for a scholarship he's providing with, I think it was KIP. And the great thing about it was he selected one of our students that applied for it. And they had the opportunity of now going to school. The rest is going to be paid off. Now they have the opportunity of receiving a free education, and that's going to be phenomenal.
Well, I like Kevin Hart. I know he's got some bad PR recently, and I agree with him. You know, as a parent, you can have opinions, whether it's politically correct or whatever, socially correct, I don't know what. I don't care. When you're a parent, you have your own feelings, and nobody can change that. And just because he you know, spoke it out, oh, this is untwisted here, your mic is coming apart.
Okay.
Wait. We're losing the mic. All right, there you go. I like him. I think, you know, he spoke from the heart. And just because it's not going to appeal to everybody, it's like you can't please everybody. You can't be everything to everybody. But because of that, they canceled his request. He was going to be doing the Academy Awards or the Emmys. One of those he was going to be the speaker on. So
Did we see him
I believe, go Kevin.
Did we see him at the Buffalo Soldiers Museum?
No, that wasn't Kevin.
Sure?
No, I know. It's different.
Okay.
Different comedian.
Different comedian, okay. Gotcha.
Different one.
Tell me the student, without names is okay, that was the biggest challenge. The one that everybody said, this, it's not gonna work for this one. Your program can't work for this person. No name, but tell me what you're most proud of.
I haven't come across that trouble yet.
Oh, okay.
Because at the beginning, I guess everyone is pretty much invested. So parents are invested. But I haven't come across a student yet that was going to be challenging or that said it wasn't going to work.
Let me ask you, do you get contacted by the students themselves, or do you get contacted by the parents, or both?
Yeah, I get contacted by students and parents. And how our program works is sometimes we come across students that receive free lunch. Like myself growing up, I grew up in a low-income background. So if a student receives free lunch, we provide them with a major discount to help them out. And that's something that has been different. But students that reach out by themselves, they're very engaged. And that's something you see that's different. We have a student contact you saying that I really want to go to college. I do not have money. I do not have support or help from my parents because they're not in my life. And you get those type of students. And is that like at the point like, okay, you know, that we really will help you and really don't worry about most of the fees and all of that occurs with it. And that's just something that we do a lot to help out. Like each year we provide homeless students with tuxedos for prom.
Wow.
And that's something we've been able to do in our first 2 years. So it's always about helping students that want to invest in themselves and giving them the opportunity.
Do you just do tuxedos, or do you do prom dresses too?
Oh, I haven't had the opportunity to grow to scale at that level
Well, we
yet.
can help you
Okay.
get some sources for the prom dresses. So if you need help and even the makeup,
Yes.
we can help you with that too.
Maybe Kim.
Yeah, I know that one young lady in special that would probably be more than happy to do the makeup or help, but she's never said no. And I'll even mention her name is Kim Roxy, who was our cover honor. Lamique, Love and Makeup and Kindness.
We helped put her on the map.
Yeah.
Put her on the cover.
And I know people with resale shops and stuff, they might help with a prom gown, so I'm sure we could find something to help.
Yes, I met Kim in Austin because I was a part of the finalists for Mass Challenge, and I think she was a part of another competition. So I actually had the opportunity to meet her. It was pretty awesome to see that we're both from Houston.
Have you hit any stopping points that have kind of you've had to reconnoiter or make a new direction when it may be monetarily or whatever? And how have you overcome obstacles?
Yeah, that's another great question. Obstacles. Normally, if I have obstacles, I just pray about it, and then it will be like a phone call or another customer, another contract that will come in. But now, scaling at a larger level is always hoping that all my receivables are on time because I do payroll, so I have a system where I have to pay people on time. And that's something that if your receivables do not come, you have to have backup. So I remember, I think it was one of my first contracts I had was picking up being able to have enough money to cover all the expenses ahead of time. And that was just something that I had to learn how to do. Just pray about it and stuff will come in. Yes.
What, just in regarding the people, and you know, you can only go so far, how many people now are on your staff?
So I would say we have a total of 12 plus. And the great thing about it is that it's just like managing, like scheduling, timing. You know, something's new. Like for me, is now learning how to, you know, direct deposit. So not doing handwritten checks anymore. And then you have federal taxes and all of that. So that's just something that's fun now. Is like, wow, you know, I used to work for Bank of America Finish Line, and now we kind of operate where everyone gets check stubs and they get direct deposit, and you know, there's just like feels like a real legit operation.
It is. It really is. How are you qualifying the people you hire to be as intense and accurate as you are?
Once again, it goes back to I love sports, so it goes back to another like Bill Belichick. He's like the general manager, so he is in charge of looking over the rosters and picking which player is going to be best for his team. The Spurs, I think it's Buford. He's the GM for that team. And when I look at resumes, it will probably be 150 people apply for a job in 2 days. And I'll look at the resume and I'll go through and I'll say, okay, this person, I can tell they're going to be special. This person's going to be consistent. And so far, everyone that I've hired, they have shown up on time and been great, and everyone loves them.
Isn't that wonderful?
The work ethic is, you know, since I first started, but it's just not, people just aren't as committed, you know, and you will always be your best employee, right?
It's true. And then also having former students who'll say, hey, like if I post a job ad, they say, hey, I know somebody that's good for that position, and then they'll provide me with somebody that's real good. And former students being a teacher has a lot of benefits, and that's a great thing about it. But looking at resumes, I'll come across people at restaurants and say, oh, you know, I have a daughter, she's looking for a job, and you know, I will look at them and I'll say, yeah, I just know right off the bat they're not gonna be a great fit for this position. So just having the ability of doing that, and I'm able to assess talent and understand who is going to work hard and who's not. And it has been like a gift. So if I can continue to hire the right people until I get to 200, then that's going to be a blessing for my company, because turnover rate, that's something that I want to keep below like 5%.
Have you considered any incentives for your people to eliminate turnover if they're vested? Have you thought on any ideas of that?
Yeah, so employees that have perfect attendance, good attendance for that semester, we will pay for their books for a class. So we enjoy hiring a lot of college students. So if a student comes every day for their scheduled shift, we'll cover their books for the fall or spring. And that's something that I like to have. I will continue to probably find out how I can probably add tickets and other incentives. But for the holidays coming up, I'm going to add gift cards to show my appreciation. Because I think about when I worked in corporate America, like what things would I like for my company to do. And one thing I do is Thanksgiving, I mailed out Thanksgiving cards. So now you make the person feel appreciated. Now next, how can I add value, monetize that, and benefit them? Gift cards, I think, would be phenomenal.
Stock options or bonuses based on the productivity are a great way. Money talks, you know, as they say, and you know what walks.
Henry, what's the best piece of advice you got when before you started your company? Best piece.
Best piece of advice, well, I learned this early on, was patience is a virtue.
Oh.
So it was a assignment we had in government class, and I remember my professor going over that quote and statement. And I'm the type of person that, with this being my first 2 years, I'm expecting to probably be at $700 million, but I have to understand that, hey, you would not grow that fast. You have to be very patient, and that's just something that I started to take and evaluate each day. Be patient.
You got to build every single day. It's about positive attitude, it's about customer service, and it's about daily marketing. Every day, telling your story to somebody. Every day, getting the word out. And what role does social media play in the promotion of your business?
Social media has been able to allow me to get customers with looking at 97.9 The Box. When we did something with them, I was able to get customers. So when I'm consistent on social media, I'm able to pick up customers, but I haven't been that consistent, but I look forward to growing more and increasing content. I know Gary V focuses on content, and I understand if I stay consistent, that will be another pie for increasing my revenue. So that's very important.
You won Liftoff Houston.
Yes.
And what other competitions, business plan competitions have you won, or?
So I made it to the finals. I was selected as finalist of Mass Challenge, Texas Mass Challenge. I was also a part of BBVA. They selected 16 finalists in the United States. And I probably, what other ones? It's a long list, but I think it was like Reverse Challenge. I made it to the finals of that.
We only have an hour on the
Yeah.
show.
But they gave you a monetary win from any of those, or?
Mass Challenge was free office space.
Oh.
And then the other one was BBVA. They provided us with lectures and travel expenses with some of the top professors in the world, business professors. So that was phenomenal. And Liftoff was monetary. So those are some of the few that I was able to get some type of prize.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Well, the ones that didn't win, what set you apart from them?
The ones that did not win, I have to say it was either story, like you have to be able to convey your story, and then traction. Some people were looking for more traction, and at that time that was something they wanted to see, a clear MVP model. And MVP is like a demonstration of what you're doing. So those are some of the things that set me apart from it. And then also having companies that, had over like 10 million in revenue. And those are companies that are they're large and they have more growth to show.
That was a tough competition, I know for us. That was real tough competition for us to judge. There were all so many good ones. I ended up with a copy of every one of the business plans. Even though I may not have been judged, other judges left and I was out taking them. One of the biggest features in our magazine is when we have a cover honoree who meets the qualifications and nominated by a board member and voted on by the board, which is philanthropy first, a inspiring story second, and a role model for future generations. One of the component parts, the last page, has words of wisdom.
I came up with that.
That was her idea, indeed. Yeah, because I told her she did.
He's so funny.
Anyway, so what would your words of wisdom be?
Best words of advice.
Best words of advice for a startup entrepreneur.
Words of advice would include, first, buy a set of thank you cards. Because you want to be memorable and you want to show that you are appreciative of people's time. I noticed that people reach out to people to get what they need and to keep it moving. But you need to be able to follow up with people and say, you did this for me. I'm going to say thank you. And when you think about it, when you have that thank you card, or I have that, Barbara has a thank you card, when an opportunity comes about education, she looks at the thank you card, she's like, oh, you know what, I have this person that I remember. It makes them feel valued. And that's how you build genuine relationships, because that grows. It's like a spider web. You meet one person, you do good for them, they connect you with somebody else. And that's something in the industry that people just want to get that connection and move on, go to the next level, but just build natural relationships. Thank you cards, build them out, have stamps, old school, not email, but thank you cards.
Thank you. We were just talking today,
Great.
partner
Great
John Cruz, who owns Phil and Derek Restaurant and the Injured Federal Workers Advocate Association and a few other businesses, has kept every handwritten thank you card he's ever received since he's 20, and he's in his early 40s. So he has a big shoebox full of cards. It means something, particularly in this social media, text message, Facebook message, email world, that somebody took the time to purchase a card, fill it out, address it, put a stamp on it, take it to the post office or put it in the mailbox.
Send snail mail, that's pretty...
And it's impressive, that's why I still do holiday cards 48 years later. still do holiday cards every single year to the people who mean the most to me. Way before we can email and I do everybody's business on Facebook. But there's still, every year I say this is my last time. This is done too much, doing 70 cards, writing everyone out, but every year I do it again. But so, I'm so glad, old school, because that thank you card means a lot, an awful lot. Something I used to tell my salespeople to do when you have a personal appointment, and you ask them for the next appointment. You bring you get a thank you card, already addressed, because you know their address, you know where you're going, and a stamped paper clip to it. And when you get in your car, you fill it out. Hey, thanks for the great meeting, and have a great time in Cancun. I'll talk to you on the 2nd of January. And then, if you got time, you run it back up to the receptionist. All of a sudden, they got an instant card, and you have to put it in the mail. And if not, you just do it at every stoplight. And finally, you get to a post office, you put it in the mailbox with a stamp on it. So I always tell people, follow up with a thank you card as soon as possible. But I like that. I like that old school touch, because it still means, and maybe even means more so in this world, to get something in the mail.
Yeah, it means people care and take the time.
Exactly. So what other words of advice besides get a lot of thank you cards?
Another word of advice, utilize resources as far as going to the bookstore, reaching out to people. It's very important to reach out to people and know exactly what they want to do. And when you go out to the bookstore, find out books where you need help with that are your weaknesses. And that's something that...
The library, right?
Yeah, library.
Use your library.
And then reach out to people that you want to reach out to. It does not matter. It could be Jay-Z. It could be Mark Cuban. If you want to reach out to them, write them a letter. Somebody will respond, might respond. Chances are there. Things happen. March Madness, #1 seed loses to 16 seed. So things happen. Shoot your shot.
Maria Rios, the Nation Ways, and she keeps expanding and increasing her areas of dealing with different products. But one of the first things when she went in business for herself is she said, be best friends with the people you know, like be with your best friends, your banker, be best friends with a CPA. So therefore, they're not just, you know, people you're hiring, but you understand and they're friends and you have a relationship. Be best friends with an attorney. So it helps you to have a relationship, be best with the banker. I thought was a great one, because, you know, that's an important one that you're going to have to do. I know she would also make sure she had line of credit before she needed it.
Sounds like he's on top of his.
Yeah, so
right?
what do you do to keep up with before you need to expand? How do you work that out?
Yeah, that's for me is for business, I guess I do not use credit cards or any type of loans or debt mechanisms. So I just look at my growth for my sales forecast, and I project that into growth. If seeing January, I'm projecting this amount so I can hire this amount of people. And normally I'll get the contract first before I start to scale up, so I have protection there. And that's a great way for me. And then I normally make sure I have enough for at least 60 days ahead for my team.
Where do most of your clients come from?
A lot of our school districts, we have contracts with HISD, Conroe, ISD, A-Levi ISD. And then a lot of our clients some come from Fort Bend and different communities. Some come from Denver, Florida. So they just come from like everywhere. But school districts are one of our biggest streams of clients.
Have you thought of franchising? Because it's a really big country.
Yes. Yeah, I really want a franchise, and that would be something that I'll probably do hopefully by 2020 and get investors, because now every 24 seconds or every minute a child is born. So it's real hard to go out of business, and that's something that I really want to do.
You might want to consider an ESOP, which is an employee stock-owned
Yes.
company, and therefore everything they do, I've seen one company in particular that did that, and they tripled their growth.
Wow.
We're almost out of time. This hour has gone by so quickly.
We got 2 minutes left.
There's 2 minutes left. Give us your contact information again for all those interested in learning more or has a student in mind for you.
And you can find me at 281-772-1538. and that's 281-772-1538. Just text 4.0 and we'll be glad to help you, or visit us online at 40gpa.com. Email, it is info@40gpa.com. We're located in the Galleria Mall. That's Office Tower 1, floor 21. Find us there. We're open from 8 to 9 every day. And I want to say thank you for your time once again.
Been a pleasure, and congratulations on the win. That we're so pleased we're able to meet you and promote you. And again, magazine, sbtmagazine.net.
Or smallbusinessdaymagazine.com.
And you've been listening to Small Business Day Magazine Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network.